Hey guys, we're back with another part here. We're working on actually starting building some walls and sidewalls and whatnot for the enclosure here. I've been doing a lot of cutting today. I got one side done. Wanted to kind of get it worked out so I know how to do it. So now I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to put this together, this other side. So I've been doing a whole bunch of cutting, a whole bunch of 2x4s. And these are going to be some angle supports here, so you guys want to see how I do it all? Stick around. So I'm doing as many 2x4s in this as I can, make it as thick as I can. Strong in certain areas here. So I got this side done already. I kind of started showing you guys a little bit of it in the last part there before I left off. I got this side done here. I made a couple mistakes around this wheel well. Nothing that's going to kill me, nothing that I can't fix, because actually I'm going to be putting another sheet of 3/4 inch plywood over this after I get it shelled out here. So this is where we're getting here. Been doing a lot of cutting and then a lot of measuring again today and playing with some things. So I wasn't going to bore you guys with that, but this is where I'm at. Now I'm going to, these here, all the way down through the back here, trying to squeeze out as many cubes as I can, account for the angles of the way this Blazer shaped. You know, I could have just used plywood and curved it probably, but I don't think I'd be as strong as I am now, because I just got that secured one side here right now and just this, and I can shake the whole truck with it. So we're going to start on this side, and I'm going to kind of walk you through how I'm doing it. Like I said, I got all my wood cut, all my 2x4s for that cut here. So we're going to start putting it together. So I'll show you guys. Now, like I said earlier, I've already pre-cut everything. That way you guys don't have to see all that bullshit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill or screw each board together all the way across, like so. Get these preset here. Flip that over. Heavy on the glue, it's not going to hurt it. I think my bit's getting chewed up. Just like that. Now we'll move on to the next one. We'll mark where our screws are. That way we don't screw into them. We'll just go above or below each one here. I look like a damn rookie. I broke my other bit earlier, so I got to use this long driver. Let's just do this. Lined up. It'll hurt to get those screws deep in there. As you can see, that squeezes it pretty tight. Now some of you may be watching videos saying, why put 4 screws in there? Well, these are only 33 inches, so you get them about every 6-8 inches apart. You can see this is already strong. What I'm doing now is something I should have done on the first side. Never thought about it till today. These are the first 4 that I just got screwed that you guys seen. Now these rest of these are not screwed yet. What I've done is I've taken my old sidewall and I measured how far up and how far back approximately it should be, and I got an approximate line now of where my wheel well curve is. So now what I'll do is I'll get these cut down, and then I'll go in and find the curve here. And then what I'm going to have to do is, like I did I think on the first one, is I'm going to have to cut this, screw it together, put it in, see how it fits, and then make any adjustment cuts from there. And I'll just have to do it for each and every one here, so there'll be a total of 11 2x4s across. It's a different day. My last video got cut off because my camera batteries were getting low. As I was explaining about how I was going to have to cut these, I haven't worked on this since I believe it was Friday, because once again, April 6th, April 7th here in Ohio, it freaking snowed yesterday. Plus I had to work and I had some other things going on, so we got a little bit more of a nicer day here. So when I left off, I was talking about cutting these. I got one cut already, so I'm going to test fit this and keep going down the line here of getting these 2x4s cut around that wheel well. Sorry that last little segment got cut off. I've got what will be the driver side here all glued and screwed together here. Got all my cuts from my wheel well, I believe. And so let's set this up here and do a test fit. right, as you can see, fits perfect. Some of these had to be cut a little tall with an angle, but that's okay. Like I said, there's going to be another sheet of this going over top of this that I'll be able to define to that curve just a little bit better. We'll fiberglass that and strengthen it all up. That shouldn't be a problem at all. So we'll get this attached and we'll start looking at some of the bracing that I'm going to need to use. So where I'm at now is I'm starting to put these angle pieces in. It's taken quite a bit of time. I've already got them cut to length, but I don't have the 45s on them yet, so it's taking me a little bit of time. Plus I want to pre-drill them. So it's taking me a little bit of time to do that. I've got a board in here to keep it my distance. Now actually, as I screw this in, it's kind of pulling it apart, so I might have to pull it together as I keep putting these in to keep my distance and keep everything square. I got one in over here just to hold everything on that side anyway. So we'll keep plugging along here, getting these I guess you call them 45s in here. Alright, this is where we're at now. We got them all done on this side, and part of them are done on this side. I think I'm going to call it a night tonight. Starting to get dark on me. I'm getting hungry and want to go in and get something to eat. Spend a little time with the family, watch something. But yeah. It's starting to look like something, guys. So we'll end it on that note today, and we're supposed to get more snow tonight, so I don't know if I'll be able to work on this tomorrow or what that entails. Plus I have a side job to do. I got an install to do for a young man. I went to school with his mother, and I'm just going to be putting a deck and some door speakers in that car for him. So that won't take very long to do. But yes, I am so pleased with the way this is starting to come together now. I'm glad, in a way, I'm glad we've had glad we've had this crap weather, because it's given me time to work on this a little bit and then think about things and how I want to do it and work around some of these changes that I've had to make. So, you know, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. I haven't been able to work on this every day for hours on end like I wanted to. Because I truly think if you rush something, it's not going to be the way you want it. Especially in this hobby, guys. So we'll call it a wraps tonight, and if we can pick this up tomorrow, we will. I know, like I said, snow forecasted, and then we're going to start slowly creeping up, and then by the end of the week, Friday into Saturday, we're supposed to be high 70s, possibly 80s. So we'll take that as well. So we'll pick us up again, guys. All right, guys, it's been a couple days since I got to work on the Blazer any. It was Sunday I last worked on it, and of course yesterday it snowed again, and it didn't get quite as warm as what they said it was supposed to be today. We're supposed to be in the mid-50s, and I don't think it ever broke 50. So it's later in the evening. I'm getting a late start on it because I had to do an install for somebody in this today, so that's done. So now I'm going to work on the Blazer a little bit. When I left off in that last segment there, I was showing you guys where I was with the shell, and I got 6 angle pieces to get done, so I'm going to start cutting those. So I got them, cut them all at one time. I know they're all 7.5 inches, but I still got to cut the 45s on them. So that's what we're going to work on now. Alright, we got those cut, so let's take these inside and get these pre-drilled so we can get them mounted inside. Now what I'm doing with these is I'm pre-drilling the angles for these screws, but I'm not going to put them in a Craig jig. I'm just going to kind of eyeball them here. That's what I've been doing for all of these. Get it started, and then I can adjust it to where I need it to be. Like I said, I'm just eyeballing these because it's really no big deal where I'm actually getting them, because you're not going to see these in the end, because these are going to be covered over. Now there's 11 of these per side, so that's 22 of these that I had to cut, and then cut the angles on, and then pre-drill so I can countersink these screws. So there's 4 in each one, so you do the math. 4 times 22. That's a whole lot of drilling here. Little time consuming. But you get the idea. like that. That's a little better. Now this last one here is going to have to be notched, I believe, like the other side was. Yeah, because of the curvature of the Blazer here. So we'll have to notch it just a little bit. That's what I had to do on the other side as well. So we'll get that notched out and we'll get it up in there. Got it notched out and all of them in now. So it's really beginning to look like a shell now. So let's start working on the back wall. So where I'm at now is, this is just mocked up. This ain't glued, screwed, or attached to anything yet. I'm just kind of mocking it up, seeing what it's going to take to get these stacked. As you can see, I started playing with finding a curve on that. A little more tweaking, and once I get that, I'll use that as a template on this bottom board. We'll get it in. And it looks like once we get up to 8, I will have to notch it here and cut it at 45 here to get that one in. And then I think my last 2x4, I may have to rip it a little bit to get it in there. But I just wanted to mock this up, see what it was going to look like. I wasn't going to bore you too much with cutting all these, but now it gives me an idea of how much room I've got to work with back here for batteries and amplifiers. So where we're at here, it's starting to get dark on me. Been working for a little bit since I chimed in for the day. So drop a comment, tell me what you think of the progress so far. I think it's coming along pretty good. Now that I got this cut, I know it's going to take at least 9 rows to the top. So I got those mocked up anyway. It won't take me long to figure out that and the angle, get it in there, and then I'll have to figure out my very last piece. Like I said, drop a comment, tell me what you think. I'm thinking it's going to be pretty strong. Of course, we're going to brace as well. It's the next day here and the weather is absolutely beautiful, so we're going to work on this. I think I got cut off there when I left off last night. My batteries were going dead in this. So I left off. I can't remember, I don't know if it got on there or not. We had this mocked up. These are just sitting in there, and I was working on finding the curvature there for the wheel wells. So we're going to take all this out and we're going to get started. So I got the bottom 2x4 all trimmed out there for the wheel wells. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the same principles I did on the side walls. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be gluing and screwing these together, stacking them one on top of each other, and I'm going to glue and screw them all together here, stack them as high as I can. That way I can put one solid piece in, not one like solid piece, but put as many in at one time together without having to try and put them together and secure them together or glue them together, whatever, inside the vehicles here. So also what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my Craig and I'm going to notch a couple holes here for securing them to the sidewalls too. So a little bit of work ahead of me. I don't know if I'll film what or whatever. I can't talk, but I'll check back with you. So I'm setting up my Craig jig here to get these, and what I've done is I took a scrap piece of wood, set it up to make sure it hits where I want it to hit, and I know what my depth is going to be on the screws. I don't know if I'm going to use this particular screw, but I just grabbed a screw and put it in there. Figured I would do a test run setting it up on a scrap piece, that way I don't screw something up on one of my boards and waste a board. But yeah, so I got it set up here, so I'm going to do each and every board and then start putting this together. So I got this board set up here, and it's pretty simple. I love these jigs. Put your bit in there, just like that. And like I said, it's going to be a little time consuming because I got to do each and every board. But I guess I'll make up for that time because it'll be so easy to just drop these screws in there. Drop these screws in there. Just right up the wall. Be done with it. So we'll I'll get all, I believe, 8 of these done. I've got the first 7 of them here glued and screwed together. It's feeling pretty solid. I don't think I'll have to do as much bracing as what I initially thought, but anyways, so we got this like I said, glued, screwed, and cut out. So let's test fit it and see how it does. All right, that works. That went in great. Thought I'd have to tap it a little bit with a hammer or whatnot, but yeah, I've got some shadows here, but we got sunshine, and I ain't going to complain about that. So now this next piece here, I'm going to have to figure out those angles there and get it cut up. So that's what we'll do now. I'll measure this out. I've got the 8th piece on here. I got one more piece. Like I said earlier in the video, I probably have to rip it down a little bit, and just initial measurement looks like I'm gonna have to rip about a ½ inch off of it. I was just a hair off of my calculations, but that's okay. But I got this test fitted here and it fits, so I'm getting ready to screw it all in. But what I want to do first is I'm going to take this back out. I've set lines where it's actually going to sit, and I'm going to PLX the edges of this before I screw it in, and that should pull it all together and be nice and square and tight. Okay, everything is glued, screwed, and PLX'd, and that is the 8X, so that should really bond pretty well. So now I've got to cut this top piece, and like I said before, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to rip this 2x4, because like I said, I don't know if it's because the curvature of some of these 2x4s, I tried to get them straight when I screwed them together, but that's probably part of the cause of it. But I'm about 1/4 to a ½ inch off there on this top one. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to rip this 2x4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and find my angles, figure out my angles there, and get those, and then I'm going to rip it down. And I don't have a table saw to rip, so I'm going to show you a redneck way of ripping a board, at least the way we do it anyway, without a table saw. So you're probably wondering, like I said, ripping a board the redneck way, you're probably wondering, how in the hell is he going to rip a board without a table saw? Well, let me show you. What I got set up here is my 2x4. I got it cut to length. I just screw it down. It ain't going nowhere now. Screw it down. I got my line set, and I'm going to rip that off there. Watch and see. Now you tell me if that ain't a redneck way of ripping it. But look at that, nice and straight. So now that I got it ripped down, I'll get these angles cut on that, and we'll give it a test fit. So I got her all cut down and test fitted it, and it goes in. So I'll show you what I'm doing here now. Wanted a pretty decent way to attach it, since I couldn't screw it the way I screwed all these other ones together. So what I'm doing, I'm using this Craig jig, which is like heaven. So what I'm doing, I'm just going every so often. Now I'm not doing this exact, I'm just eyeballing this, guys, just so I can get some screws in there. And I may jig this other board so the screws, I get screwed up to the ceiling there. But I just wanted to show you guys real quick what I was doing here. I think that'll be pretty strong there. You know, and like I said, there's going to be at least a 3/4 inch layer of plywood going on the inside of this too. So I think it'll be strong enough. Any of you guys watch Soundman's channel? He does some damn good videos. They're great videos. But as Soundman does in some of his videos, hallelujah, the shell is done. The shell is done. What you guys think? Now, I didn't feel like wasting a tube of PLX, so I squeezed it in every little joint that had a little bit of a gap in it that I could get it in. Probably doesn't do no good, but I know I ain't wasting a tube of that PL8 because that shit's expensive. Did it on the inside too, so. Now, these fender well, I kind of fuckered those up a little bit, I think, but not a big deal because I'm going to line this with the plywood now. This same plywood that I got on the floor and the ceiling here. So we're going to line the back and the two sides with that. Now I got about a half sheet in there. So I'll lay it out and get the most out of that sheet as I can. Now I doubt I get it all. Not with a half sheet. But yeah. So we'll get that line. We're going to cut it a little closer to the fender wells. And then we're going to fiberglass the shit out of it. And sand it down and make it look pretty. But the crate jig worked great. So I got screws going into the top and I got screws going into the bottom. Plus I PO'd it as I wedged it in there. So, checklist, check, shell is complete. And we'll get it lined. And then we'll start on baffles. We'll figure out how many cubes I got from this point after I get those lines. After I get it lined with the plywood. And once we figure that out, we'll start on the loading wall. But I'm going to call this 75% complete on the box now. I'm pleased. Alright guys, we're going to call this an end for this part here. We got the shell all done. I probably could have got a little more done on it tonight, but the people that I did the install for in that Firebird that I showed you earlier, they came and picked up their vehicle, so I was kind of showing them a little bit of how the Bluetooth worked and that sort of stuff, because I put a Pioneer deck in that for them and some speakers and stuff. So starting to get dark on me now, so I think we're going to wrap this episode up. I'm off again tomorrow. We're going to be back at it, and I'll start a new episode then. I appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, smash that thumbs up button. Follow me on other social media. Till then, guys, bass on.